You know, you're going to go buy some cast iron. There's a lot of places that sell cast. You can go to nearly any place in the world anymore and get cast. I just stress that you buy good cast. You know, there's all kinds. I think the best cast that was ever made was the old Griswold pieces. But sure, they don't make them no more, but if you can find them at a garage sale, they're still a great thing to buy. But you know, a Dutch oven's going to come in a box in a store, and I don't care when it is or who it is. I always pull it out of the box, and I'm going to look because, first of all, I want to make sure that these legs here are sealed. There's no hollow spots in here, because if they're hollow and you go to set them down on the ground time after time again, then you're packing dirt in these things, and then they're going to create rust, and then they're going to break off a whole lot quicker. Make sure that there's no cracks nowhere around the Dutch oven. Make sure the next thing, you put the lid on there. You swivel that lid all the way around. Does it hump and bump and jump and try to come off? Because when it heats and expands and contracts back and forth, you're going to get worse, I promise. So make sure that old lid fits really good and solid. Next thing I'm going to look for is the inside of that old Dutch oven. And I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to run around there, and I'm going to make sure it's smooth. It is good. There's no little burrs hanging your finger anywhere, because if it's not smooth, it's harder to clean, I promise you. Just make sure that all the edges are the same. They're smooth everywhere you go. You know, you find some pieces of cast iron in different places that's got that in it, and sure, I've had them and got home and didn't realize they was there. And you can sand them out. You can take a piece of steel wool or something and maybe get them smooth, but it's better to always look around there and make sure that everything is just as clean as it can be. Cast comes a lot of time now what they call pre-seasoned. You know, Lodge makes a cast called Lodge Logic, and they're seasoned to where you can just start cooking in them when you get home. You don't have to go through that process of I'm going to have to season them. I don't trust anybody's seasoning except mine, and these are my methods. That's why I use them. Even the stuff that's pre-seasoned, I wash out with good hot water, and then I let it dry either on a fire source or a burner. Let it come to where it's completely dry and warm. And you can put your hand in that old oven, but you can't hold it there long enough. It's hot enough then that we can begin to season. Always season with olive oil is what I use on the inside of my ovens, and it doesn't take a lot. My old ovens have been seasoned so many times and are slick and clean. But make sure that your cast is warm enough, first of all, to accept seasoning, because the pores need to open for the oil to really get in there and do some good. Then you're going to wipe down the sides, the bottom, everywhere around. One thing a lot of people forget, and that is the inside of this lid. Always make sure that you season it too. The outside ovens, I use ours a lot. They get abused, but I always season the outside with any cheap vegetable oil that I can find. And you can do this in the house, in your kitchen. If you're going to preheat an oven to like 200 degrees, go ahead. Make sure that you've washed your cast. It is completely dry. Oil this inside, oil the outside. You can place it just like this in an oven to where it's on a cookie sheet, because I guarantee you if you don't and you make a mess in the house on that stove, your little wife is going to beat you when she gets home. Cook it for about 20 minutes on 200 degrees. Turn that oven off, let it cool, bring it out of there. You may have to do this. This is not a one-time process. This is something that you do 3 or 4 times. Then when you cook in it, always make sure it's clean. Always make sure that you re-season it. You go somewhere, you don't use your oven very much. You think, well, I'm through for the year, I'm going to put it up. I'm not going to use it no more till next spring. And you put the lid on it, you slide it under some shelf in the garage. You've cooked, maybe baked some fish in there last fall. You get ready to use it this spring and you take it off, it'll nearly knock your head off. The smell in there's so bad. Cast iron needs to be stored in a proper way. And if you're going to store it for any length of time, it needs to breathe. You can do that with a piece of cardboard, piece of paper towel, piece of rag, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that it's got air to where it can breathe and circulate. Another thing that I will tell you, don't use a paper towel to season your oven, because when you keep rubbing paper towel on there, it's just like rubbing it on your face. If you've got a little whisker, you're going to leave a little lint, a little fuzz, and then you're going to get a buildup. We use good rags, any kind that you want to get. Just make sure that they don't have a lot of lint. You can wash them, run them through the dryer. It'll usually get rid of that the first time. But always clean your ovens with a good rag, and that way you won't build up some residue in there. Remember to store where it can breathe. You keep your cast happy, you keep it seasoned, it'll always repay you, but it'll turn out good food.